Hello, and welcome to Monday Mornings, Useful Idiots Monday Mornings. I'm Katie Halper.
And I'm Aaron Maté. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday morning.
Happy Monday morning. And guys, don't forget to like the stream. Thank you very much. And don't forget, right after this, we do a call-in, free app. The link is in the description. And that way you get to ask us questions, complain, do whatever. Not complain too much.
No, don't complain.
Right? But
Do not
don't
complain.
You're right. Do not complain.
No
In fact, we'll hang up on you if you. This is a complaint-free zone. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but don't forget to do
that, after party,
guys. It's an after party. It's the hottest Monday morning after party.
Yeah. No complaint to the after party.
No, it's a complaint-free after party. In fact, that's what makes it such a fun after party, because there's nothing, no buzzkill like a complaint party.
Well, I have nothing to complain about because we got the Chuckster on deck, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, and look, I mean, this is a tough week because Mike Pence has a new book out, and nobody would care about Mike Pence if not for the fact that he was Donald Trump's vice president, right. and he also was very implicated in the whole January 6th thing. And so because Mike Pence wrote a new book, he gets the bulk of the Sunday news shows, like both Meet the Press and Face the Nation devoted, I think, the bulk of their shows to Mike Pence. So this is a tough week for us, but we're gonna power through and see what Mike Pence has to say, if he has to say anything interesting at all.
And guys, tweet this out. Make sure people know to tune in.
I'll do that right now.
To politics. Republicans have taken back control of the House, squeaking into a narrow majority. But the biggest question after a disappointing midterm performance, the third disappointing election cycle in a row for the GOP, will Republicans rally behind Donald Trump yet again? 721 days before the next presidential election, Donald Trump became one of a small group of ex-presidents to announce he will again seek another term even after being defeated. Just one of those ex-presidents, Grover Cleveland, has been successful doing this. The timing of the announcement at his gated Palm Beach resort appears to be an effort to get ahead of several federal criminal investigations. And on Friday, in reaction, Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel to take over investigations he was overseeing into the former president's role in the events leading up to the January 6th attack on the Capitol, as well as the former president's decision to retain classified government documents at Mar-a-Lago.
Okay, we got another special counsel, everybody. We got one more special counsel. I need a special counsel to investigate all these special counsels. I'll say that much right now.
I know. I need a special counsel to counsel me on how to deal with the special counsel news.
And how to still feel special when there's so many special counsels out there.
Despite this,
it's hard to feel special because there's so many special counsels. And we had Robert Mueller. Okay, we have investigations going on in Congress into January 6th, and we have the investigations in New York into Trump's organization, his finances, and we have investigations going on of Hunter Biden. And now we got a new special counsel just for Trump on Mar-a-Lago and January 6th. And, like the joke during the Mueller investigation was that Barron Trump, Trump's son, is going to be investigated one day. And I think that's looking increasingly likely. We're going to have just never-ending special counsels of the Trump family and their associates. And Katie is just, we've lost Katie just for a second, but let's go back to the Chuckster while we get Katie back and hear more of the special counsel news.
Based on recent developments, including the former president's announcement that he is a candidate for president in the next election, and the sitting president's stated intention to be a candidate as well, I have concluded that it is in the public interest to appoint a special counsel.
The Attorney General's goal is to create some political distance between that investigation and obviously the Biden administration. That's the reason for this appointment. Jack Smith is a longtime federal prosecutor who has most recently been working at the International Criminal Court at The Hague. Now, if Trump falters in his presidential campaign, there are a handful of Republican hopefuls that are ready to challenge him, including his former vice president, Mike Pence. Pence's new memoir, So Help Me God, actually was out, perhaps not so coincidentally, the same day that his running mate, Donald Trump, announced. And he describes Trump's pressure campaign in the book on him to refuse to certify the 2020 elections, which of course culminated when rioters threatened Mike Pence's life. I spoke to the former vice president at the Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California, and I began by asking him about his likely run for president.
Well, I can't wait to hear what Mike Pence has to say about his likely run for president.
Federal ban on abortion.
Sorry, guys. I got so verklempt, so moved that I had to go off camera for a second because the tears were running out. Tears of excitement and joy, which is how I always respond to Mike Pence.
Yeah, I mean, what an emotional day. We not only have a special counsel to continue Trump mania into oblivion, but we have Mike Pence speaking his mind.
And I just want to remind everyone that you know what Mike Pence calls his wife, Aaron?
Was it mother?
Mother. Yeah.
Mother, yes. Yeah.
So imagine how emotional she must get whenever she hears him.
Yeah.
Calling her mother, yeah.
Well, hey, we all have our pet names for our loved ones, and
right. And sometimes they're edible.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's hit it. Let's see what Mike Pence has to tell the judge.
I wonder if he calls his mom wifey.
That would be confusing. I'd be very confused. Yeah.
Federal ban on abortion.
Wait, can we start from the beginning? I think we missed the very beginning. Did we?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay. So we're at the second clip now. Yes. All right. So what did the Trump administration actually do, everybody? Like what were their achievements that you can think of? Well, Trump passed a massive tax heist, transferring wealth from the lower classes to the wealthy. That's one of Trump's major achievements. He killed Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, and almost sparked a war. He vetoed a resolution that would end the war in Yemen after he campaigned on being against foreign wars. He vetoed a measure that had bipartisan support, by the way, to end the war in Yemen. And also, they appointed a bunch of Supreme Court judges who chipped away at abortion rights. And so here's Mike Pence commenting on how he reflects back on that aspect of their legacy.
A federal ban on abortion.
I write about my commitment to the sanctity of life, and so help me God, at great length. And
So help me God. I'm sorry if I missed this when I was off camera, but So Help Me God is the name of his memoir.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. So now he's talking about abortion.
So he's not saying "So help me God." He's just saying that's the name.
I know. At first, I thought he was saying.
No, it's confusing. It's confusing.
Yeah.
I must tell you, and you having written a book, know that you hit deadlines. You don't always get everything in you want. Yeah. I have to tell you, it was such a joy for me when I was putting the finishing touches on this book to actually be able to reflect on the fact that after 49 years, with 3 Supreme Court justices appointed in our administration, we gave the American people a new beginning for life. The Dobbs decision not just overturned Roe v. Wade, but it returned the question of abortion to the states and to the American people. And I celebrate that from really the depths of my heart. When I was a young man, the most important decision I ever made was when I put my faith in Jesus Christ. I opened up the Bible, I read verses like...
One second, let me just explain. He was born a Catholic. He grew up Catholic, but then he found Jesus again as an evangelical. Just so in case people want to know his personal Christian history.
When I put my faith in Jesus Christ, I opened up the Bible, I read verses like, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And I set before you life and death. Now choose life so that you and your children may live. I knew in that moment, a decade before I would arrive in Congress, that the cause of life had to be my cause. And I must tell you, Chuck, to have been able to champion life in the Congress and as governor, but to have been a part of an administration that gave the American people this new beginning for life is something I'll cherish the rest of my life.
Is that the most important achievement of that, in your mind, of the administration?
I truly believe the opportunity to restore the sanctity of life to the center of American law may be among the most consequential legacies of the Trump-Pence administration, if not the most consequential. But I would also say, with regard to your question, that when Senator Graham introduced legislation to establish a 15-week ban on abortion, I thought it was useful. If I'd still been a member of Congress, I would have voted for it. It was useful in the sense of demonstrating that the Democrats' position is the extreme position. The Democratic Party today supports abortion on demand up to the moment of birth and taxpayer funding of abortion. But I recognize that this issue is likely going to be resolved one state at a time. Some states have already acted to advance the cause of life. And I've said to people, when the Dobbs decision was overturned, we haven't come to the end. We've come to the end of the beginning. And Chuck, it may take as many years to restore the sanctity of life to the center of American law in every state in this country as it took to overturn Roe versus Wade. But as long as I have breath,
I know you've got passion. Are you you're a limited government guy? I know this. You
1 second. So he's going to nail him on something, or try and nail him on something. But please note that evangelicals are for the death penalty. So they're not pro-life. They don't actually see life as an inalienable right. Because if they did, they'd oppose the death penalty. All right.
I know you've got passion. Are you you're a limited government guy? I know this. You really are. Are you comfortable?
Known, by the way, Katie, is LGG.
LGG?
Yeah, limited government guy.
Oh, right. He's an LGG. Yeah.
He's an LGG.
Yeah.
With the idea of essentially government-mandated pregnancy. If somebody doesn't want this child,
Don't say this child. They say they want to terminate the pregnancy.
You're now advocating a law that essentially the government is ordering you to go through with this pregnancy. Are you comfortable with a government mandate like that? The folks in Kansas were not.
Our founding documents say we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. And the first one mentioned is life. And I think government...
Okay, I see some pushback in the comments. I just want to bring this up. This is not me responding to haters. This is an important argument, I think. People are saying, well, killing murderers does not make you not pro-life about abortion. What a fallacy. No, it does make you not pro-life, because if life is an inalienable right, it doesn't say it's an inalienable right with the exception of when you commit a crime, at which point it's no longer inalienable. The sanctity of life does not mean it's a sanctified thing, except for when you kill someone. Besides the fact that people are killed all the time who are innocent, and then they're exonerated. And so that's a stupid argument. The fallacy argument is very stupid. Either life is inalienable, an inalienable right, or there's a sanctity of life, or there's not. All right. Besides the fact that if you're pro-life, you want to err on the side of not killing innocent people, which happens. Sorry, the death penalty thing, for a lot of people, abortion is that issue where they kind of like lose it, understandably. For me, it's the death penalty. I just don't get it, how you can be for the death penalty, given that they're innocent people who are killed. Besides the fact that I think it's barbaric in principle, I kind of respect people. Like, I couldn't marry someone like this, but I kind of respect people-ish when they're like, I believe in the death penalty in practice, but we can't have it now because we know it's applied in a classist, racist, arbitrary way, and also because innocent people are killed. Anyway, that's my rant for the day.
I'm just reminded, Louis C.K. is a funny joke about abortion activists, where he's like, he's saying that, like, criticize them all you want, but you can understand why they're so vocal and outraged. They do think that babies are being killed, so you can't expect them to be like, nonchalant when they're protesting. I just thought that the way he does it is very funny. Anyway, listen, I think that's enough Mike Pence
Well, let's just
abortion
finish though.
stuff.
Let's just hear what he has to say.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
All right.
we don't want to cut him off. Thanks, Marcus
I,
Carter.
I do. But okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't want to. I mean, I'm pro-choice, but I don't want to abort this yet.
Fair enough. You want to be okay.
Exists to protect life, particularly defenseless life. And I intend to be a part of this, but I think we have an opportunity, Chuck, to approach this debate in a new and in renewed way. You know, when the Supreme Court took this issue away from the American people 49 years ago, there were strong dividing lines that have endured now for 2 generations.
All right, I guess
now
that's
we have
enough.
a political debate.
Yeah.
Sure.
Again, why are we even listening to this guy? Because he was Donald Trump's vice president. Otherwise, nobody would care about him.
Right.
And
he got, you know why Donald Trump named him as his running mate? To get the evangelical vote.
There we go. There we go. Yeah.
Even though Donald Trump, of course, said of himself that he's extremely religious. He said that that's why the IRS was going after him. They were targeting him because he's extremely religious.
Yeah, one of my favorite books that came out of the Trump era was something called The Faith of Donald J. Trump, a Spiritual Biography. And it was all like an attempt by evangelicals to pretend as if Donald Trump was one of them.
Oh, wow. We should do some reading of that.
By the way, there's an anecdote in Pence's new book where Pence says to Trump after January 6th, he says, I'm praying for you to Trump. And Trump is like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Not a problem, not an issue. I'm good. I'm good with God.
We're gonna do one more. We're gonna do one more Pence clip because Pence is relevant on one thing, which is January 6th, because that's when Trump encouraged the protesters to pressure Mike Pence, and some would say even endangered him with his Stop the Steal madness. And so on Face the Nation, Pence was asked about this and how it made him feel.
The president's words and actions in and around January 6th were reckless.
Is that a Jumbotron, by the way? I like it.
I'm not sure what qualifies as a Jumbotron. I mean, it could just be a big TV.
Big TV, yeah.
Yeah.
Words and actions in and around January 6th were reckless. The tweet that he issued the day that I was in the loading dock below the United States Senate endangered my family and endangered people that were in the Capitol. And was indefensible.
Why did it take you 2 years to talk about your anger? Weren't you incandescent with rage that your family was put at risk like that?
Margaret, I was angry that day, and many days since. But on January 6th, I have to tell you that I had to put that aside.
Okay, 2 things. One is that, yes, but I had to sell a book, so I didn't want to be too angry beforehand. I wanted to save my anger. And also, this is a man who I don't think has a soul, speaking of pro-life. I think this is his angry face, just like this is probably his bliss face, just like this is probably his romantic love face when he's referring to his, when he's calling his mother to come over to hang out. I think this is how he expresses emotion.
I'll say this. Every word he says sounds like it's rehearsed, like he's written it out before. He's reading a script off a teleprompter that's just off camera.
Right.
Like when he orders food, I wonder how it sounds like, ma'am, I will have the tuna salad.
Right.
I've thought about the tuna salad. Anyway, it's just, he's so canned. And of course, that's why he didn't say anything, because he was waiting for his book to come out.
Right.
And he gets rewarded with, a lot of promo time on the cable news shows. But I agree with you. It doesn't look to me like he's capable of really feeling,
emotion.
What is known as human emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
The president had decided to be a part of the problem. I was determined to be a part of the solution.
His
to
eyes
work
are
with leaders
dead.
in Congress,
His dead
leaders at
eyes.
the Pentagon, leaders in law enforcement, to do our part to finish our work under the Constitution.
Well, and this is what made him a hero. He was a liberal hero for a while after January 6th, because he didn't go along with, Trump's whole Stop the Steal thing. And
So he was welcomed into the resistance, basically.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll be rewarded with some book sales. But yeah, again, why should the rest of us care about this guy? I don't know.
By the way, this isn't me. I just want to amplify our viewers. And someone does say we are approaching 1,200 viewers. Can we get to at least 600? How are we doing on the likes? Because now we're surpassed 1,200. What do we got on the likes, Wilson?
I see 506.
All right, we got to get it to 600. I know half of you are not hate watching. Take a moment, everyone. Press the thumbs up button. This is a way that we get to beat the boys at Pod Save America. By the way, someone wrote 666.6 subs. Katie is evil. That's not what I meant to highlight, but not a bad observation. So guys, I am pure evil, and which should make you fear not liking.
We do have half, but we got to get to 666 at least.
So we have
6.6
subs. That is
So now we need 666 likes.
All right,
we hit it. Okay, great.
Great job,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys. Great job. All right.
And we need Mike Pence to come away and chase away the devil in our subscriber count. So Mike Pence, if you're available,
yes.
give us a hand.
Reminder, guys, subscribe to this channel.
Yeah.
Because right now we're in the devil's lair.
All right. Well, we're going to move on from Mike Pence and on to equally pressing matters, which is breaking news. Elon Musk has reinstated Donald J. Trump to Twitter. And people are going nuts. And one man whose name is Scott Galloway, he is a marketing professor at NYU and a podcast host. He has a theory about what happened because Elon Musk did a poll of his Twitter users about whether or not he should reinstate Trump to Twitter. And the people spoke and voted by a small margin for Trump to be reinstated. But Scott Galloway has a theory about what's really going on.
We'll see.
Well, he's also, Scott, a presidential candidate, as we learned just a few days ago. He was kicked off of Facebook, Instagram, YouTube after January 6th. Do you think this opens the floodgates, or is this just a gimmick by Elon Musk for PR?
I think it's mostly the latter. I think if Elon's out of the news for more than 48 hours, he'll decide to kick him off again. He said that the people had spoken in Latin. I found that this poll, Elon Musk polls on Twitter are more for support than illumination. He ran a similar poll to see whether or not he should sell Tesla stock, and it ended up he'd already filed to sell those shares. So I think these polls are mostly a gimmick, and I would argue the people haven't spoken. The GRU has spoken. Twitter has become
Russian intelligence, you mean?
100%. Twitter has become
100%.
a playground for bad actors and fake bots. This poll is meaningless. This decision is meaningless.
I like that it's not that it's that this is Russian interference, right? The GRU. It's that it's 100% the case.
Blue Anon sees Russia everywhere. They're behind every single thing possible. They're the reason that there wasn't enough hot water when they showered in the morning. The Russians are everywhere, and the Russians this time got Trump reinstated to Twitter. Russia is all powerful, and really at this point, all we can do is just bow to Russian bots because they control everything, and hope that they be merciful in this new Russian occupied country of ours because they control everything.
Yeah. And people are asking about Scott Galloway. Something you should know is that he was elected to the World Economic Forum's Global Leaders of Tomorrow.
Oh, well, hey, I recognize your leadership, sir.
Yeah.
You will lead us into the fight against these Russian bots, and I will loyally follow you. Well, he responded to some criticism actually this morning on Twitter. So let's show that, like what he said.
Okay. And by the way, he's the co-host of Recode, which he co-hosts with Kara Swisher, who we just saw. But you want to know what his other podcast
I got to check out that podcast. That sounds
yeah,
great.
it's great. Yeah, it's Recode.
Yes.
No, it's called Pivot. Yeah, it's called Pivot. And you know what? He has another podcast, though, I want to share with you guys just because the name of it is pretty cool. It's called The Prof G Show. Prof G.
Well, hey, Prof G. thank you for schooling us in the ways of the Russian bots and how powerful they are and how they're responsible for everything. And for people out there, looking for a career in academia, look no further than Scott Galloway, professor at NYU, an esteemed academy, and look at the mind it takes. And hopefully one day you can achieve to the level of that kind of brain where you accuse Russia of being responsible for everything with no evidence. But this is what he says on Twitter today.
Okay.
In response to some heat he gets, he says, I don't have. Oh, okay, here he goes. Musk was so concerned about the huge number of bots on Twitter that he wanted to back out of the deal. Russia operated bot farms to sway our presidential elections in favor of Trump, per the Mueller investigation. How much of the 4% margin in bots versus trolls versus Vox Populi? By the way, look, the Mueller investigation, if anybody actually read the report, didn't actually find that Russia operated bot farms. They found that Russia that a Russian social media company that put out clickbait garbage that nobody saw or read, it wasn't even about the election, put out some dumb posts on Facebook and Twitter. That's what the Mueller investigation actually found, if anybody read it. And then he says this, I don't have proof of Russian interference in the poll. However, it would be hard to disprove it.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. I don't have proof, but also people can't disprove it. Well, I don't have proof that Scott Galloway is actually a secret Russian agent who's been deployed by Vladimir Putin to make American liberals look like unhinged cult members. Yeah. But it'd be hard to disprove it. You know? How do we know that Vladimir Putin?
No, sorry. Wilson, go back to that tweet, please. Also, I mean, I cut you off, Aaron, so keep saying what you were saying. Then I
was going to repeat myself. So go ahead.
For the folks in the back.
Yeah.
No, but what I am saying is that this seems like a fickle way to reverse a permanent ban. I mean, he's presenting that as if it's relevant to what he's saying about Trump.
Yeah, he's saying that Russia, like everything in this
country.
I
mean about Russia. I literally said Trump. That was a Freudian slip because they equate Trump and Russia, and in this case now Elon Musk. Sorry about that. That wasn't a joke. I just literally, my brain went from Russia to Trump.
Yeah.
Because I've been trained. Because all roads go to Putin.
All roads lead to Putin.
Yeah.
All roads lead to Putin, according to Nancy Pelosi. All right. Well, so anyway, that's the latest from the Blue Anon cult. And we can look, there's a long list of things Russia's responsible for. Obviously, Trump. Obviously, Kamala Harris blamed Russia for the Colin Kaepernick controversy, the George Floyd protests.
Susan Rice blamed those on Russia.
Yeah, I mean, there's just an endless list. Russia has, I mean, there's really nothing that Russia can't do. And getting Trump back on Twitter is the latest. So congratulations to Russia on another achievement. All right. So next up, we have, look, this is serious that Donald J. Trump's Twitter account has been restored. Democracy is under threat. And who better to respond to the news than Adam Schiff, the guy who gave us years of Russiagating and claimed on these same Sunday news shows that he had seen secret evidence of a Trump-Russia conspiracy that never, for some reason, never materialized. But here he is responding to Trump's reinstatement to Twitter.
We're joined now by Intelligence Committee Chairman Congressman Adam Schiff, who is also a member of the January 6th committee. Congressman Schiff, thank you for joining us. I want to begin with the news overnight that Donald Trump has been reinstated by Elon Musk on Twitter. Watching the January 6th committee hearings, Trump's tweets were a big part of the story to be told. What do you think of him being back on Twitter?
I think it's a terrible mistake, and you're absolutely right. As we showed in the January 6th hearings, the president used that platform to incite that attack on the Capitol. His comments about the vice president, his own vice president, put Mike Pence's life in danger. He showed no remorse about that. He continues to lie about his actions on that day. He talks about pardoning the people who attacked police officers and attacked the Capitol that day. And it contradicts what Elon Musk said, that he was going to establish a council to evaluate this, and further contradicts Musk and his claimed concern about bots on his own platform, to subject the decision to a poll on a platform that could be easily abused that way. It just underscores the erratic leadership of Twitter now under Musk, but also the security concerns with security people fleeing Twitter and what that means for the protection of Americans' private data.
Yeah, he did it with that snap poll, and even then the vote was 50.
All right, so basically, Elon Musk has said he wants to restore free speech to Twitter, although I personally actually doubt that. But he has taken some steps like restoring Trump, who was banned, and I think ultimately liberals like Schiff, who have pushed an agenda that grants them the power to cancel political enemies, investigate them for being Russian assets, don't like that prospect and don't like the idea of their political foes being granted free speech. And so hence why we're going to hear a lot now about how Twitter is all of a sudden a security issue and people's data is under threat. I see this more as an outgrowth of this strange authoritarian strain that has grown on the liberal side in the Russiagate era. And, I just, I don't see what interest it serves to ban a former president from Twitter permanently. I think he should be given the right to say whatever crazy thing he says, which is a lot, obviously. Just like I think Adam Schiff should have free speech, even though he pushed Russiagate conspiracy theories nonstop for many years.
Also, Scott Galloway should have the right to say that Russians control Elon Musk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, he should. Yes, he should. All right. Well, look, don't worry, everyone. We have a lot more from Schiff. So let's hear what Schiff has to say about the likely new House Speaker or McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy on the Republican side.
See, we have the Republicans winning back control barely of the House. One of the things that Kevin McCarthy has said is that he's going to strip you of your position on the House Intelligence Committee.
Well, I suspect he will do whatever Marjorie Taylor Greene wants him to do. He's a very weak leader of his conference, meaning that he will adhere to the wishes of the lowest common denominator. And if that lowest common denominator wants to remove people from committees, that's what they'll do.
All right. By the way, you see what he did there? Very clever. He set him up. He said Marjorie Taylor Greene wants him to be removed. And Kevin McCarthy is a weak leader, so he's going to listen to her and the least common denominator elements of the party. So now, if and when McCarthy does that, he's going to be proving Adam Schiff's point, which is that he's a weak leader.
He's weak, and he listened to a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something kind of sexist in, maybe in what he's doing. I don't know.
I mean, I do try to have an ear towards that, but she is a Christian nationalist, which I think probably trumps her being a woman. So he could be responding to that. I know it's uncomfortable to kind of I feel uncomfortable agreeing with Adam Schiff.
But I'll say this too, Katie. She also wants to audit all the billions of dollars that the U.S. is spending on Ukraine.
Sure, yeah.
Which I think is if Kevin McCarthy did that, which I don't think he would because he's weak. That's where I think he's weak. He doesn't have the courage to stand up to the war state.
Right.
I think that would be a good thing.
Right.
And but yes, we've played some of Marjorie Taylor Greene's bigoted comments before on the show, and certainly there's a lot about her to make fun of and criticize. But look, I'll say this: if Kevin McCarthy follows Marjorie Taylor Greene on Ukraine, I'd be all for it.
Yeah, sure, of course. So you're saying you would tolerate a dropping of Schiff from the committee in exchange for a pivot away from the proxy war in Ukraine?
I mean, first of all, I would cheer any removal of Adam Schiff from the House Intelligence Committee under any circumstances.
Anyway,
I think he's been unbelievably terrible for everybody, and that he centered, the whole Russia Gate investigation. His office leaked selectively information that made it look as if they were closing in on a Trump-Russia conspiracy. He claimed on Meet the Press that he had seen secret evidence of Trump-Russia collusion back in March 2017 or 2018, early on in the investigation, and fueled hopes that Mueller was going to find a smoking gun, which of course he never did, because that whole thing was a scam. And then he led the drive to impeach Trump because Trump briefly paused some weapon sales to Ukraine while Giuliani was pressuring Ukraine to investigate the Bidens. And that's when Adam Schiff said that we aid Ukraine so that we can fight Russia over there and don't have to fight Russia here. So nobody has normalized Cold War chauvinism among liberals more, I think, in the last few years than Adam Schiff. And so I think his removal would be a wonderful thing for the world, because I think the policies he supports are very dangerous.
Right. CWC, Cold War chauvinism.
Also the
There
Chemical
it is.
Weapons Convention, but
Oh, yeah,
we could,
that too.
yeah. All right, let's hear a little bit more Schiff.
Going to be chaos with the Republican leadership, and sadly, the kind of the crazy caucus has grown among the Republicans. Many Republicans who won primaries in deeply red districts are coming to Congress, like the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Paul Gosars.
Yeah, well, look, the crazy caucus. Yes, there are Republicans, including those
Republicans
people who say crazy things. But I would say that Schiff is in the crazy caucus as well. I think they're all in the crazy caucus because
Interesting.
nothing is crazier to me than a conspiracy theory that the president is a Russian agent.
Right.
Has Marjorie Taylor Greene ever said anything that nutty? She said some nutty things.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything nuttier than the idea that Putin is blackmailing Trump with P-tapes and other compromise to run the United States. That to me is the craziest thing that anybody said in politics in the last few years. That's just me, though.
Yeah, she's more of a lone wolf, I would say. Her craziness is, which makes her, I would say, a little crazier, because the other thing is almost more sinister. I mean, she's sinister too, but
I mean, she says horrible things about China. She says the most offensive things, and she's talked about even deporting members of the Chinese Communist Party. Even, I think, actually deporting even Chinese Americans just for being from China.
We got to start. You got to really pull it out at the root, and the root includes Chinese Americans. Yeah.
So I don't want to downplay all the crazy things that she says. I am also saying though that I don't think
she's
Adam
opportunistically
Schiff,
good on that issue. Yeah.
I don't think Adam Schiff has any moral high ground when it comes to saying crazy things and being xenophobic. In the case of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's xenophobia towards China. In the case of Adam Schiff, it's xenophobia and chauvinism toward Russia. So it's really just a different flavor of chauvinism. And at the same time, I'm not going to ignore the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene has spoken out about in much more progressive ways about the Ukraine proxy war than any progressive in Congress, in calling for some oversight and voting against it. That's just true. And she's also called for pardoning Julian Assange, which nobody else has as well. So
guys, progressives, get on that. Get on that. Stop letting this Christian nationalist have the near monopoly on those things. It's really shameful.
I totally agree. Totally agree. All right. One more clip from Adam Schiff, because remember the whole January 6th investigation? That was like the big thing for a while. It's kind of fizzling out now, but because Congress is closing out its term soon, and the Republicans will take over the House, then the January 6th committee still has to release its report, which Adam Schiff gives us a preview of.
To me about the January 6th committee's deliberations about a criminal referral. Will you be making a criminal referral or referrals?
We're in the midst of reaching a conclusion on that right now. Should we make referrals? What kind of referrals should we make? I don't want to get ahead of that decision, but I can say that I think Judge Carter in California, who analyzed just one small piece of this, concluded that the former president and others were engaged, or there was evidence they were engaged in a criminal conspiracy, evidence they were engaged in an effort to stop an official proceeding, the joint session. I think the evidence is there to make a referral, and we just have to decide whether that's the course we're going to take.
So we might get a criminal referral. That's the breaking news from Adam Schiff on January 6th. And again, with this new special counsel that we've gotten, we're going to be hearing about January 6th for a long time, everybody. So worry not. All January 6th had a lot more January 6th to come over many more Januaries of the next few years.
I mean, it's going to blow the roof.
It's going to blow the roof. That's what Jamie Raskin promised. And,
it takes
a long time sometimes for the roof to blow off. And
Yeah, it
This one
does.
is
This roof is
simmering.
very nailed down. It's a very sturdy roof. Yeah.
Yes.
I think actually Chuck Todd asked him if he was going to blow the roof off. Or did Jimmy Raskin offer it? I'm not
He
sure,
promised,
but there was
he promised the roof.
He did, yeah.
would go off. He did.
He promised the roof, yeah.
He did. All right. Well, keeping on the Trump train, because that's all these shows could talk about. Let's go to Rod Rosenstein. He's the former Deputy Attorney General, and he was on Face the Nation and asked about Donald J. Trump.
Attorney General Barr sat with PBS. And this was right before Merrick Garland's announcement. But he said that to indict, the Justice Department needs to show Mr. Trump was consciously involved. Let's hear what he had to say.
I personally think that they probably have the basis for legitimately indicting the president. I don't know. I'm speculating.
You're speculating, yeah.
But given what's gone on, I think they probably have the evidence that would check the box. They have the case.
Do you agree?
Well, I don't know. I think the Attorney General Barr that is mentioned later in that interview that he was speculating. And I think it's, there are multiple levels of issues that the department needs to consider, Margaret. Number one is the evidence sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction? Number two is it an appropriate use of federal resources to bring that case? And a case against a former president obviously would be extraordinary, would raise unique concerns. And so I would hope that Merrick Garland and his team would be very careful about scrutinizing that evidence, not just checking the box, but making sure that they're prepared to stand behind the decision that they make.
Well, I'm so happy I haven't heard Rod Rosenstein's name in a long time. He was there overseeing the Mueller investigation. So back to, if you remember that era, we would hear about Rod Rosenstein all the time, and there was because people, liberals were mad at him because he fired Jim Comey, but then he became a hero because he was seen as protecting Mueller. And anyway, I'm just thrilled we haven't heard from him in a long time, and here he really just says nothing about.
I mean, are you thrilled, or are you covering up the fact that you actually have been missing him?
No, I really haven't. I really haven't. But look, this is just more. This is special counsel talk time, and this is going to be again a thing because we got a new special counsel looking at two different things: the documents. And remember the documents for a while? That was like the biggest news ever, and then everyone kind of forgot about it. Trump taking his documents to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
And also January 6th. And so, but meanwhile, there's also this investigation on the other side that's been going on into Hunter Biden on tax issues. And also he had a gun potentially illegally. And so now there's the question of, should there be a special counsel to investigate that? Should we get another special counsel? So here's Rod Rosenstein on that.
One case that's been going on longer, the investigation into Hunter Biden, which CBS has learned the FBI has gathered sufficient evidence to charge him with tax and gun-related crimes, and that is before the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, David Weiss. I believe you know him since he was a Trump appointee. Can he independently oversee this, or do we need another special counsel?
Well, yeah, this investigation, as you said, has been going on for a very long time, which is not good for anybody. It promotes conspiracy theories and suspicions. So my hope is the department will make a decision in the near future about whether to go forward, and hopefully that decision will be accepted by the public. I do believe that the U.S. Attorney in Delaware has the right experience to make that decision. So I think we can be confident that he'll make the right decision in that case.
Okay, so not in that case, but.
So yeah, will there be one more special counsel? And will Hunter be indicted? And what will happen then? I mean, the intra-elite legal battles are just are never ending.
Yeah, we need a special counsel to tell us that.
All right. Well, look, there's some political news with Hakeem Jeffries likely taking the reins from Nancy Pelosi, who announced her retirement last week as House Speaker. And so Hakeem Jeffries was on CNN.
Oh, God. I hate this guy. This guy.
Only one would think the retirement of someone like Speaker Pelosi, who's been in charge of the Democrats in the House for 20 years, that would set off a mad scramble of individuals running to replace her as top Democrat. But that didn't happen as of right now. You are running unopposed. A lot of people thought that maybe Hoyer or even Clyburn would try to become Speaker or try to be.
Okay, they both suck too. What we should be seeing is Pramila Jayapal or Ro Khanna, if they're actual progressives, oppose him.
Become a House Democratic leader. That didn't happen. So obviously you must have been campaigning behind the scenes in the inevitability of her retirement. I know you don't want to jinx anything, but you are running unopposed right now. How did you manage to consolidate the vote?
Death threats, bribery, bullying, intimidation, compromise.
Flowers, chocolate.
Flowers, okay. Yeah,
bribery.
Nice. Yeah.
You mentioned bribery, yeah.
That'd be nice if there was like a congressman who's so just, or a congressperson, congress member is so sweet that they can just be bribed with chocolates and flowers.
Yeah.
Oh, like you got me chocolates.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I mean,
yeah.
I'd be okay if Congress worked that way on a flower and chocolate basis rather than money and lobbying and corruption.
Agreed. What would your bribery be? What would your preferred bribery be?
God, spa memberships.
A spa
like,
gift certificate.
If there's a great sauna
membership,
like
yeah,
that,
dream big, yeah.
Someone has a great sauna I can go to, or or some nice clothes.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. How about you?
Don't go the no chocolate flower route for Aaron.
No, I don't care about flowers.
I like flowers a lot, actually, but I would like a weekly flower shipment. That's what I would want.
Wow.
Because then they die, and then what are you left with?
Well, until a special counsel investigation comes down on you for all those flowers. Flowergate,
yeah.
All right. Well, let's go back to Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, let me say, Catherine Clark, who's currently our assistant speaker, Pete Aguilar, who's currently the vice chair, have been part of the leadership team over the last few cycles, working hard in connection with Speaker Pelosi, the Biden administration, and others to deliver for everyday Americans. I've had the opportunity over the last 2 terms to serve as chair of the House Democratic Caucus, and my goal has really been just to work hard to bring people together, to legislate with precision, to message with discipline, to communicate our values, the fact that we stand for freedom, that we stand for unity, we stand for democracy, we stand for progress for all Americans across the country. And my focus, Jake, has really been do the job that I have as caucus chair to the best of my ability and try and let the rest take care of itself.
You have split with the far-left progressive ring of your caucus at times, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York.
I wish they were far left. Amen.
Right?
Amen. Amen.
Let's hear what it has to say about that.
Ocasio-Cortez told the New York Times she still was processing the change and, quote, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done in our caucus, unquote. Do you agree that your caucus needs healing? And if so, how will you achieve that, given that you will be ultimately the Democratic leader?
I mean, come on, AOC. Is it really about healing?
I know. I mean, I'm definitely, yeah.
Can we drop the trauma language when it comes to politics? Like, I'm all for trauma language, obviously. But not when it comes to politics. This is not.
Who does it appeal to? Also, right? Like, who doesn't already like AOC is gonna. I think it actually alienates people.
Yeah, it's not about healing. I mean, in politics, it's about confrontation on issues that you care about.
Yeah.
We don't need healing in the Democratic Party. We need confrontation, in a productive way.
Yeah, in a non-physical way.
To push issues that can actually help people, like Medicare for all.
Right.
That's where healing has a role. And so, come on, AOC.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you and Hakeem Jeffries, heal.
Do like a trust circle or trust falls. Don't do that. Not on my dime.
It reminds me of like when they were voting for the Iron Dome, that massive funding project for Israel, and she talked about it was divisive and there needed to be healing. No, it's just either you oppose it or you don't, and pick a side.
Yeah, she cried,
and
right? Didn't she vote present?
She voted present.
Like she was gonna oppose it, but probably I think that like people probably threatened her big time for that. Anyway,
like threatened her politically.
At least.
Yeah. Well, so what? So
I know. Don't cry about it. Just vote the right way.
And there's no healing from that. There's just about taking a stand and deciding which. So anyway,
Papa Bear, that's a good call. Okay, let's hear more about how Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, I have great respect for Representative Ocasio-Cortez and every single member of the House Democratic Caucus, from Representative Ocasio-Cortez to Representative Josh Gottheimer, my good friend, and all points.
Josh Gottheimer is who he just mentioned, who's like a Trump Democrat.
In between. The majesty of the House Democratic Caucus is that.
The majesty, Aaron. You want to know what the majesty is? He's going to tell us. He's going to drop a majesty bomb.
We are so incredibly diverse in terms of race and gender and religion and sexual orientation, region.
They're so diverse. Got to hand it to the House of Representatives for being diverse.
Oh, for region.
I mean,
yeah.
They had to go out of their way to make sure that they were representing different regions. I kid because that's obviously the definition of the House of Representatives. But
so like some are from California and then some are from like Florida, which is just so far away. It's so diverse. Wow.
Yeah. They really went out of their way to make sure.
I'm so impressed by that diversity of a region. Wow.
A life experience and even ideology from the left to progressives, New Dems, Blue Dogs, moderate and centrist Democrats, all points in between. The thing about us, Jake, is that while we can have some noisy conversations at times about how we can make progress for the American people, what we've seen is that under the leadership of Speaker Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, Jim Clyburn, we've constantly been able to come together time and time again, whether that was
to get Henry Cuellar elected, for instance. Henry Cuellar, the incumbent, anti-choice incumbent, NRA A rating. And of course, Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, and James Clyburn all did their part to make sure that he was able to keep his seat. He was challenged by a pro-choice actual progressive in Texas. And of course, it was a very close race, and he won thanks to the intervention of the Democrats.
The American Rescue Plan, saving the economy, putting shots in arms, money in pockets, kids back in school, Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, creating millions of good-paying jobs, fixing our crumbling infrastructure, gun safety legislation for the first time in 30 years that will save lives. Obviously, there's more that needs to be done. The CHIPS and Science Act, bringing domestic manufacturing jobs back home to the United States of America, as opposed to our jobs going in the other direction. And of course, the groundbreaking historic inflation.
I do like Tapper's expression here. I'm not going to lie. Someone wrote in the comments, Japper's not buying it. And it's true.
Reduction Act, which is going to lower healthcare costs, energy costs, and the high price of life-saving prescription drugs. My point is, Jake,
needs some healing,
that though people have doubted us, tried to create this frame of.
Don't forget Ukraine, Hakeem Jeffries. Right. Whether you're far left or you're, on the right of the Democratic Party, you all came together for a neocon proxy war to approve tens of billions of dollars in aid, quote unquote, that goes actually mostly to Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, and Ukrainian warlords. So don't forget that. Don't forget that accomplishment.
Democrats in disarray. We always are consistently able to come together, find the highest common denominator, get things done for everyday Americans, and make progress.
All right. So let me just tell you a little bit about Hakeem Jeffries, okay? This is how respectful he is of progressives. He called Bernie during the primaries a gun-toting socialist. He told a journalist that he would, hold on, let me see what he said about the hard. I keep losing this one article I want. I'm sorry, hold on one second. He said he would never, what did he just, sorry, one second. Hakeem Jeffries. He has a PAC that is dedicated to protecting incumbents. He also said he would never bend the knee to we will never bend the knee to the hard left socialists. He likes to use that expression.
Sounds like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Sounds like Marjorie Taylor Greene would say that.
I know, right? Yeah.
We will never bend the knee to the hard left socialists.
Yeah. And there's a big, you know, the Bernie bro trope, the trope that only straight white men support socialism, or only democratic socialism, only straight white men support Bernie Sanders, and they're racist, sexist, homophobes. Well, that's coming back with a vengeance around Hakeem Jeffries. And I actually tweeted something about this. So Wilson, can we show this tweet? Okay, so this is a guy, Howard. I don't even know his whatever. He's awful. And he lied about Bernie Sanders, like straight up lied about him. And he writes, Hakeem Jeffries poised to become first ever Black leader of a chamber of Congress. Here are a bunch of pasty progressives to tell you why that's a bad thing. And now let's go. So note pasty. Okay, now let's click to the next one, because I have 3 images there. Okay, pasty. And then the next thing. Look at that non-pasty complexion.
Howard appears pasty.
Howard appears
pasty. Yep. Yeah.
And let's show another pasty person's response. Wilson, I sent you another tweet from a straight white man who happens to be a Black gay man, Jabari Brisport, who is a DSA member, city councilman. He pointed out that in 2021, Hakeem Jeffries started the Team Blue PAC to defend incumbents facing primary challenges, and then he put his thumb on the scale. He's terrible on Palestine. He says Israel, Israel, Israel. So this guy is not progressive, and you're going to see increasingly people try to pretend that people oppose him because he's Black, and that is absolutely not the case. So just know that, and know that it's erasure. All you people who like to play the identity politics game, you're erasing people of color who are progressive.
I do like the term pasty progressive, though. That's pretty. It makes.
I know. Well, he's a pasty punch lefter. What else starts with a P? Pasty. He's a white. I don't know. Eraser. And I'm sorry, his dog is so cute. That's why I cut out the dog in the close-up, because that dog is that's a pasty that I can get behind. That cute little white furry dog.
You're referring to Twitter user Howard, who you've singled out today. All right, well, hey,
he's bad. I'll find it, but he definitely lied about Bernie Sanders. I can't remember what it was, but I remember fighting with him. It was a very factual based thing, and I remember pointing out, because he's a lawyer, and I was like, "This is defamation. You should know that because you're a lawyer."
Well. Random Twitter user
Pasty
Howard.
POS, that's good.
Pasty POS. Random Twitter user Howard, you're on blast. We put you on blast.
You're today. On blast. You're on paste blast.
Mm-hmm.
We copied and pasted what you said, pasty POS.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been great. And really quickly, I want to make an announcement. Thank you to those of you. I know some useful idiots came out to my live taping last week, Tuesday, woke washing. Yeah, I've also used woke washing. But thank you, Sean Moon. Right. You're saying I taught you the phrase, right? That's white woke washer. That's what he is. Okay. Sorry. I want to thank everyone who came out Tuesday to my live taping with Miko Peled. It was great. Full house, even though it was pouring. But someone told me, Phil, friend of the show, Phil, told me that apparently some people came like 10 minutes late and the door was locked. Now, I don't know if the People's Forum locked it for a bit by accident, because what I can tell you is that we had people come in throughout the night. They came in late throughout the night. But if that happened to you, let me know, and I will somehow make it up to you. I'm really sorry, because people were coming in, and I know that because every time the door opened, you'd hear the rain. So I want to thank you for coming, and apologies if anyone watching this came and was turned away. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Well,
and if you're in Chicago, I'll be at the Muslim Americans for Palestine conference. I'll be speaking there on it starts Thursday, but I'll be speaking on Saturday.
Oh, very cool. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So to get bonus content, go to usefulidiots.substack.com to also, to support us and help us keep Monday morning going.
Yes.
And join us now on Call-In if you're around, if you're in the mood for an after party.
Yeah. And one more announcement is that a lot of people take Thanksgiving off, right? But what are we going to do for you guys for Thanksgiving? We are going to keep giving you great content. We're going to give you our Thursday Throwdown, and we're also going to bring you an extended interview with Norman Finkelstein, which you're really going to want to hear because it gets very spicy. But so you're welcome, because we got your backs this week. A lot of other places are taking the week off, but not us. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll
Yeah.
see you next time.
See you on Colin.